You're listening to The World at 8 with Lynn Mozart. The World at 8, the number one in nationalist news.
Highlights of the news today, Wednesday the 16th of May. We pay £134 million for returning illegals home. Labour suspends branches in 2 wards for cramming. Wirral convenience stores are to have liquor licence reviewed for employing illegal immigrants. Same Wirral Council to motivate a mosque building programme for the future. Greece in line to leave the Eurozone. Beijing gets tough on illegal immigrants. Thought for the day, righteous anger, we need it. UK news. The bill for flying out the illegal immigrants is an astounding £134 million in the last 5 years, paid by all of us. One World at 8 reporter commented, that could have paid the debts of British-born students studying to try and make something of themselves, but they would not see it that way because of the communist Marxist influences shoved down their throats at university. Another fact is that this huge amount of money could have gone towards giving our serving men and women the proper materials and funding more police on the ground. The Labour Party has suspended 2 of its branches in Manchester as an investigation gets underway to find out how so many people have just recently become members. Crumpsall and Cheetham, the wards of council leader Sir Richard Leese and high-profile former Lord Mayor Afzal Khan, have been placed under investigation by party chiefs. The official reason for the investigation carried out by MEN is the surge in membership over the last 6 months. The normal figure for the membership in what is called a short period of time is usually 10, but figures suddenly showed 150 new members. Khan and Leese are under investigation for what is known as cramming. While suspended, the 2 wards cannot hold meetings or participate in any votes, including those to select a parliamentary candidate or party leader. 2 convenience stores on the Wirral Peninsula may have their alcohol licence removed, reports are claiming. The higher Tranmere Express, Bebington Road, and the local Pensby Road, Heswell, will have their premises licences called into question this week at the request of Merseyside Police. The reason is given that the 2 managers deliberately employed illegal immigrants in both their shops, a move which puts British workers out of work, and although this is nothing new for these types of shops, one reporter claimed that the politically correct Wirral Council won't do a thing. Additionally, the Wirral Council is considering having a mosque building programme in the near future. There is also a Wirral Islamic Cultural Centre, and in a report from the Wirral Ethnic Health Advisory Group, WEHAG, the stats for the ethnic population around that area shows an increase of almost double for the Muslim Paki-stani community in the years of 2001 to 2005. Euronews. Greece could finally free itself from the dreaded Eurozone. An IMF chief member said that to be prepared technically is vital to Greece leaving the European Monetary Union. The Greeks, who have had their people at the brunt end of the troubles, have endured austerity after austerity measures thrown at them for being members of the Eurozone. Many nationalists around Europe have praised Greece for wanting to escape from the dreaded financial black hole which only benefits France and Germany. Greece is still struggling to form a new government, formed from a coalition of parliamentary MPs. World news. Iran is once again sabre-rattling in the Middle East about their wanting a nuclear capacity in their country. Is it not strange how Iran has not had any demonstrations against their leaders in the name of democracy like so many of their neighbours? This is because they are already a Muslim fundamentalist country, and democracy has no name there. Beijing has got tough on illegal immigrants. The Chinese are setting an example to the rest of the world. They're having a 100-day crackdown on all illegal immigrants entering the city of Beijing, which is now underway. Any illegals who are living in Beijing or working illegally will be forced out and removed. Thought for the day. A small thought for today is that when I did a thought on the abortion laws, I received a text from an Asian doctor in charge of an abortion clinic, who said that because I brought attention to some young women who used abortion as a method of contraception as committing genocide, the doctor said I was wrong and denigrated all womankind. So lady, When the front page on this Mail this week was young women using abortion as contraception, was I wrong? No. Once again, the world at 8 is right. My main thought today is fired by an email I was sent by a supporter of the nationalist cause. Although I am not a supporter per se of the person who wrote this, he does have some salient points. As with most nationalists, what we have to say is usually spot on, but the way we say it can sometimes offend, which isn't the end game. Our end game is to unite and fight the establishment and the wrongs that are being perpetuated in the name of Britain, both outside this country and within it, against our own people. You see, I do listen and I learn from your comments and emails. All opinions are welcome, if not always agreed with. The point this guy was bringing up was the apathy suffered by the majority of the public in this country. It is centred on all main political parties, and even a close friend said to me this morning she doesn't care about any of them. The fact that the unpopular coalition is trying at least to sort the terrible financial state this country was left in after a long-term Labour government is simply ignored. No, I have no time for Cameron or what's his name, but Millipede will fare no better. This apathy does not extend to the TV or computer games or getting drunk. We're all rather good at that. The trouble with apathy is that it breeds laziness and mental laziness and finally nothing up top worth speaking of at all. We have no national outrage. This is why people from all over the third world and Europe flock to our shores, because we as a people let them. As soon as a certain section of the people, usually the British National Party, actually say anything against it, we are labelled as, yep, you guessed it, racists. The things that we as a people put up with are enormous, and although sometimes hidden and devious, they do infringe and in many cases eradicate our human rights, which the rest of the world seems to forget. Whilst the inhabitants of a country appear not to care what happens to them or their country, why should the rest of the world care? So it is up to us in this country to make sure our voices are heard, and we will have to think long and hard on a way to do this. The political way is good, but with the media blackout and a general insurgence of socialism and the impossible immigration into certain key areas of England, we have lost some major towns in our own country and time. So it really is down to the people. Now, whilst I have the greatest admiration for the English, we are inclined to really come out of our stupor when we have our backs against the wall. Good old Winston knew this and made us so angry during the last war that even we developed a fighting spirit last seen during the 100 Years' War. Now, if you think the English cannot get emotional, you're wrong. We can. Only about certain things though. Football being the most apparent, and Manchester supporters heading the list. Now, with reference to this email, I thought a guy from Manchester was called a Mancunian, not a Manchurian, but then I'm only a humble woman. The fact is, the what's-it has hit the fan because of a win by this multi-ethnic team took over the headlines from the disgusting Muslim groomers. Well, it would, wouldn't it? Come on, since when do the Brits care about their own being subjected to terrible behaviour from newcomers? These youngsters are supposedly all vulnerable and deserving of it, aren't they? Come on guys, footy is a much easier subject to get irate over. There are no consequences except belting your opponent, of course. The fact that this multicoloured ball team are owned and funded by a Muslim, Sheikh Mansour of the United Arab Emirates, with a family fortune estimated at £1 trillion, and which is getting even bigger from Manchester fans, thank you very much matey, there is another few thousand for crappy shirts and even crappier placards with I love you Sheikh. Oh God, I think I'm going to need a sick bag. This scrote Mansour is probably part of the huge network that funds buying up British land and businesses, building huge mosques everywhere, installing fundamentalist madrasas for young men in training for an Islamic jihad in Blighty, that is apart from funding corner shops to sell liquor to underage idiots, cornering the market on drugs and yes, the Muslim groomers. They're all part of the softening up of the British people, just to see whether we have any feelings at all before they take over completely. Look at it in a general light. We employ Muslims in all our airports, we employ them in our government, in our police, in our councils, and we give them titles, we elevate these bastards to heights they would not have reached in their own countries. Who is laughing now? Who is still watching football? We need to get angry, not stupid, drunk angry, but a positive, clear and righteous anger. We need to get angry over Muslim paedophiles who have been operating under the radar for years. We need to get angry over our people killed by illegal immigrants. We need to boycott and close businesses run by selling drink and drugs to our youngsters. We need to get angry over illegals who masquerade as youngsters to fool the benefit agencies. We need to get angry over our establishment fooling us over these last years by the floatable figures of actual immigration. We need to get angry over allowing these people into our country at all. We need to get angry over British soldiers being sent out to a country no one else wants, except as a so-called peacetime training ground, and worse, sent out without adequate fighting or defence armaments. We have so much to get angry about that I can only think that at the moment the Brits have their heads in the sand to avoid facing the terrible truth that we are already conquered. Another friend of mine, and I do have some, said that the people where she works never watch any informative programmes on the television. That is, political debates, social issues or health programmes, but they always watch the soaps. No, I do, and I know the insidious message they all send out over the airwaves. It is multiculturalism is good, white men are bad, white women are slags, Muslims are family-minded and good, blacks are feckless but endearing, and it goes on and has done so for many years, only getting worse. Mixed-race couples adorn adverts. In fact, many businesses resort to using cartoons or animals because they do not want to offend anyone. Getting angry yet? Good. Your children are subjected to this crap at preschool, and whilst little Johnny going back to a huge house in Wimbledon is going to be okay due to his genes and his money, little Damien going back to his slightly smaller abode with no visible further education in sight will not. Getting angry yet? Good. We need to wake up. We need positive action and positive anger now. We need to get off our bums and start this summer. We need to start moving together on June the 9th. We need to show the world we are not asleep or being fooled or being bought by foreigners. We need to object in the strongest possible language. The British National Party and the British people will not be moved. And finally, animal protection group PETA has offered £1,000 reward for the capture of an evil bastard who has been shooting hedgehogs with a crossbow in Cambridgeshire. The sick nutter who is at large could go on to do harm to people, they have explained. They added this was the course of Dennis Nielsen, a serial killer and left-wing socialist by the way, who harmed animals before killing people and eating them. 10 hedgehogs were found in the road that had been killed by this maniac in Yarrow Road, Cherry Hinton, and anyone with any information must get in touch with PETA immediately. One thing is for certain, if a nationalist catches him, 1. we would not have the heart to take your £1,000, and 2. the monster will be made to look like a human lollipop, extremely slowly. I am really angry now, my friends. Really, really angry. You have been listening to The World at 8. I am Lynn Mozar and I wish you all a very good night. Immigrants is an astounding £134 million in the last 5 years, paid by all of us. One World at 8 reporter commented, that could have paid the debts of British-born students studying to try and make something of themselves, but they would not see it that way because of the communist Marxist influences shoved down their throats at university. Another fact is that this huge amount of money could have gone towards giving our serving men and women the proper materials and foam. Labour suspends branches in 2 wards for cramming. Wirral convenience stores are to have liquor licence reviewed for employing illegal immigrants. Same Wirral Council to motivate a mosque building programme for the future. Greece in line to leave the Eurozone. Beijing gets tough on illegal immigrants. Thought for the day, righteous anger, we need it. UK News. The bill for flying out the illegal...
You're listening to The World at 8 with Lynn Mozar. The World at 8, the #1 in nationalist news.
Highlights of the news today, Wednesday the 16th of May. We pay £134 million for returning illegals home the last 6 months. The normal figure for the membership in what is called a short period of time is usually 10, but figures suddenly showed 150 new members. Khan and Lees are under investigation for what is known as cramming. While suspended, the 2 wards cannot hold meetings or participate in any votes including those to select a parliamentary candidate or party leader. 2 convenience stores on the Wirral Peninsula may have their funding more police on the ground. The Labour Party has suspended 2 of its branches in Manchester as an investigation gets underway to find out how so many people have just recently become members. Crumpsall and Cheetham, the wards of council leader Sir Richard Leese and high-profile former Lord Mayor Afzal Khan, have been placed under investigation by party chiefs. The official reason for the investigation carried out by MEN is the surge in membership over